What are you doing?
Dude, ever since adding the weight, man, the truck's been running way too hot. I feel stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I was on the forums, the boys said I need to cool it down. I found these ice packs. I don't know, man, it probably should work, right?
There's got to be a better way.
You know what? I did have that one dream a few days ago. Get away from me. They're not small, they're 33s. Oh, don't GX470 AC Condenser Fans fit perfectly into a 4th Gen 4Runner? Maybe that could solve my engine problem. Probably not, but it'd probably cool off the air conditioning. That could work. I need to build some more washer fluid. Relocation kit. Washer fluid. Warm. You gotta be kidding me. All right, guys, so we're gonna take on the GX470 fan conversion for the 4th Gen 4Runner here. We got our 4th Gen 4Runner. I actually forgot the part. I'll be right back. All right, everybody, getting serious here. We're gonna throw on the GX470 AC condenser fan. So I got mine from TYC. The part number is TYC611270. And so these come right off of GX470s. And you're probably wondering, okay, what do I got to do? You don't got to do much. Here, I'll show you. I have 2 bolts in right now. You can see those silver bolts, one in the bottom right, one in the top, just to the support bracket here. And those are 6mm times 40mm 1.0 pitch bolts. And they're going to fit perfectly in the little radiator frame support bracket here. And all we're going to do is basically slide the fan in right on those mounts. And then the plug we're just going to cut off. And I'm going to wire it directly into my switch panel. Pretty simple process. So why do this? Well, as you guys know, Lexus is kind of Toyota's luxury brand. I think the reason they put those in, it's just another feature, you know? You get that coolant. They have it wired in, so when the AC is on, it's running. Why am I putting it on? One of the reasons is just with idling and with sitting in traffic and stuff like that, my AC can get a little bit warm, and so I want to have that extra auxiliary fan here that I can turn on when I'm sitting in traffic, cool off the condenser a little bit, force that hot air out. I'm also a little bit curious if turning it on, especially when I'm idling or even if I'm doing some hill climbs, I can get a little bit extra air going through the condenser, going through the radiator itself to try to get some more of that hot air to move away. I've heard a few people report that they can get it down like 2, 4, 5 degrees with the fan on, and so I'm just curious if I can eliminate some of that hot air coming through the front of the vehicle here. And so I'm going to install it. I'm going to show you guys how I do it. Very simple installation, and then we're going to go test it out a little bit. So let's do it. All right, so first things first here, I'm just going to cut off this plug. Alternatively, you could just make another connector. You could just get a female connector here and wire that onto wherever you're going to your switch and use this plug. I don't have one on me and I don't really want to get one, so I'm just going to hardwire it directly to my switch. And so I'm just going to cut both these wires like so. And I'm going to strip each of them, giving a decent amount here, probably a little bit more. There we go. Boom. And then I actually have some wire here that's already in a nice rubber loom. I got a positive and a negative, so I'm just going to strip that like that. And then doing the exact same thing to these. These are similar gauges. I'm not too sure what gauge wire this is. I need to double check, but obviously you don't want something too thick and you don't want something too thin. Okay. So I'm just going to strip this. This. We have pretty similar gauges here of wire, and so I'm just going to open up this loom a little bit more just so we can get some separation here. I might solder these. They also might be out of solder, so we just might use some simple crimp connectors. But black's going to go to black, red is going to go to blue. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check on that one really quick here, just by connecting it to power, and then I will confirm. One sec. All right, so this might be a little bit hard to see, but I have the wiring here and I have my switch panel, and so I'm going to put the blue on the positive, black on the negative. And we'll see if the fan spins and what speed it spins at. And so let me just make sure I'm not crossing my wires or anything. Black. Voila! We have power. That's a nice clean fan. Everything sounds good. Bearings sound good. Nice speed to it as well. Also, pretty large when you think about it, so that's going to move a lot of hot air. So I'm excited to put this in. Now that we know how it goes, we're just going to finish up our wiring and connect those harnesses together, and then we'll show you how to mount it. All right, so we're just going to use these simple butt end crimps. All this does, basically, you have your crimp. One side goes in here, make sure it's nice and flush. When you take your crimp tool, they can look all sorts of different ways. I'm just going to use this, simply crimp down on the connection. That's going to secure it, then put the wire on the other side, crimp that down, then take some heat and seal it. So as I do that, I'm just going to fast forward everything here, guys, as to not bore anybody, and I'll meet you when we're done. All right, so we got the crimps connected there, and now what we got to do is just use a little bit of a heat gun. I have my heat gun. You can use a lighter, you can use a small torch, and we're just going to make sure it seals at all the connections. Pretty fascinating stuff. Shouldn't take too long. All right, just like that, we're done. So now I'm going to take some electrical tape and I'm just going to tape those back together so we have just a consistent loom, nothing really going to catch a corner or anything. And then what we'll end up doing is just seeing how long we need. But first, let's go bolt this in. All right, so dropping it in here, you can kind of see the caution label goes on top. This is where one of the mounting points is. And then down here is where one of the mounting points is. Then you have the little feet that are going to go on. And so all I'm going to do now that I have everything here, I'm going to make sure it's not contacting anything. There's nothing going to hit my fan. I have one wire here. You might notice that my AC line is in front of the support rather than behind it. Or sorry, behind the support rather than in front of it. That's just so I can fit my winch in the bottom here. I'll show you quick, just on my winch plate here. I'm still working on fitting everything, but in the meantime, we wanted to push it back just so we could fit it in and not lose any clearance from the front of the truck. And so once I got those, I just got my bolts, and keeping in mind these are 6mm, 40mm long, 1.0 pitch bolts, and I'm just gonna slowly start them. Once again, we're making sure that the fan's not coming into contact to anything. Should be fairly simple. That one started nicely. Then I'm gonna move to this other lower bolt here. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna line it up. Got my washer, got my bolt. And I'm just gonna carefully thread that in. Should go in nice and clean. If not, you can clean out your threads. But yeah, it's nice that they use the same support, rad supports and everything here, so we can install everything across the GX470s onto the 4th gens. So anyways, there we go. We got the fan in. Now the only thing we have to do is connect the wire. So you could, if you were doing this on a separate switch, you could make a switch. You could put that into your dash. You could wire it into the AC controls and everything like that. I'm not going to bother, like I said before. I just want to have it on a switch, so I'm going to wire it into my switch panel, and I'll show you guys how I do that now. I'm just going to snug these up quick. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and install the wire into the switch panel. I already got the positive side on here, and now I'm just going to take the negative, unscrew the little screw here, and then I slide it underneath. And that makes our connection point. If you guys haven't seen these switch panels before, I have a little install and review on my channel. I have the Auxbeam 8-gang switch panel here. It came defective from factory. And I'm going to be honest, it took a few months to get Auxbeam to finally reply to me and send me a new one. So I'm not too sure if I'd recommend them. But this new one does work okay. But yeah, there was a few compromises in quality that I wasn't too happy about. But it does make your life a lot easier having these switch panels. I'm running a bunch of lights here and having it in my cab, as I'll show you in just a second here. Now that I got this hooked up, I'm going to take this out of the tripod and just show you guys exactly how I have it hooked up. But first, I'll show you the routing. So, on the truck, we have the fan, wire goes through here, through the little peephole, comes around back, connects. So I've gone ahead and put on the perfect sticker for this, as you can see, fish box. Which means if I were to put my key in the ignition, and because I have this wired into a fuse when my truck is on, this is on, and I push fish box, as you can hear, we now have that AC condenser fan running, which is super nice, super loud, clearing quite a bit of air. Not super loud at all, actually, it's relatively quiet, but clearing that air, which is nice. And so I am going to go ahead and drive around for a bit, see if this makes any difference to my AC, see if this makes any difference to engine temps, and let's see if this is worth it. But I mean, if it's there, helps out, probably worth it. So let's find out. All right, so I let the vehicle warm up for a bit, and I'm just sitting here with my AC fully on, fully cranked. And I'm gonna try turning on the fan to see if it makes a difference in the temperature. Of course, this is just me in my hand, trying to see if it feels different. And to be honest, with the fan on, I'm actually feeling a little bit of a change here. I've been sitting here for about 5 minutes with it cranked, and yeah, now that I put the fan on, the air is a little bit colder. It's also a pretty hot day here in Calgary. It's about 30 degrees outside, 30 degrees Celsius, that is. Wow, that's actually a pretty big difference. Turning it off. Yeah, so just by like my biased in my truck feel here, I would say that there's quite a considerable difference with having that AC condenser fan on. Just sitting here in the heat. Oh my gosh, and that's off. I'm sweating already. But once again, I can't verify this with technology. I probably could. I could get some gauges and everything, but I don't want to. This is bro science, if you will, right now. And so I'm just going to drive around for a bit, look at my normal temperatures. I'm going to do the exact same drive with the fan on, see if it does make a difference for engine temps. Once again, this is not your controlled variable experiment. It's just me messing around. So let's find out. So guys, just drove around for a bit. Got the engine up to like operating temperature, and once again, just hard to really say if it's a big difference or not, but with the fan on, I was averaging actually a little bit lower temperatures. So I'm doing the same route over and over again. I did it about 2 times. First time without the fan, I was averaging about like 190 to 194 degrees Fahrenheit for engine temperature. Same way with fan on, I'm averaging about 186 to 188, not really breaking that 190 mark. Once again, could be so many factors for this, but I also would not be too surprised if getting that hot air from the condenser fan, pushing it through the radiator, wouldn't be making a very small 2-degree difference. And so anyways, that's the end of the video, guys. It works great. It's nice and quiet. But the number one thing, of course, is that my air conditioning is ice cold now, especially when I'm idling, especially when I don't have air coming through the condenser on the highway. So yeah, that'll be everything. I hope you all have an awesome weekend, wherever you're at, and take care.